Greetings. Steve Joel here, Superintendent, Lincoln Public Schools, from our newest facility in our district, Kloefkorn Elementary, which is located in the southeast part of the city, right off of 98th Street. I'm on the playground, but I have to let you in on a little secret. I'm supposed to be in Mrs. Braun's office right about now, and I was able to convince our film crew that, I am a veteran of playgrounds, and particularly playgrounds that still smell new. And as you can see, I'm in my element on this duck, but I know Mrs. Braun is getting a little impatient because we are on a pretty tight schedule. I want to use this opportunity to just welcome everybody back to what we think is just going to be a great 2012-2013 school year. Today's program is going to feature an exciting principal, a veteran principal of our district that's taken on the challenge of putting together a new staff and a new vision, of course, in a brand new building, tremendous gift from our community. We're going to talk to three teachers that just represent what you would want represented in a classroom. They can't wait for kids to get here. In fact, they've been working with families and students all summer long. And then we're going to bring in Mark Shepard, who is the Assistant Superintendent for Business. Mark's going to kind of explain his key work with the district, which is really about the planning for infrastructure, the developing, managing, and implementation of a budget, and does so much of the work, responsible for so many of the departments that make opening school next week not only critical, but seamless. So, what are we looking forward to this year? We think we're going to have about 300 to 400 new students, which is going to be on a low end for us, but that's going to be helped in part by the rollback of the July 1 kindergarten registration age. Our board has recently talked quite a bit about strategic priorities. You know about our strategic plan. I think we've talked about that a lot on this show and through the media. But we're going to particularly focus this year on technology. Technology is something that we're very, very intrigued with. We know sporadically it's used throughout the district. We're very interested in creating a technology plan, not to replace teaching, but to augment quality teaching. We want to be able to bring great resources into our classroom so the teachers that you see today can truly have access to tools that take their teaching to the next level. And certainly if their teaching goes to the next level, our student success goes to the next level. We're also going to be talking about a career academy. You'll be hearing more about that as time goes. I had a meeting today, and we've got some great partnerships in place on that. We really feel like the time is right in Lincoln to be emphasizing opportunities for kids to look at careers and match their career interests up with some internships and ultimately some career pathways that lead to great jobs within our city of Lincoln. Student achievement's always going to be driving us. We talk about that day and night. We feel really good about where we are as a school district. Certainly, as we compare nationally, we look well, but we're not ready to rest. We have a high graduation rate, but we think it can be higher. We have a lot of our students at the elementary, middle school, and high school that read at benchmark or read at proficiency and perform well on national and state standardized assessments, but we know that there's room for improvement, and that's going to drive us going into the future. And quite frankly, while it's probably not reasonable to expect 100% of our kids will always be successful, that's going to be our goal. And we have the people to pull that off. And again, we're very, very blessed and very, very fortunate to be in a community that supports our schools and our school district through infrastructure, but also is the kind of community that people want to come to. We continue to get great draft picks coming out of college to join our professional ranks. So we're excited. I'm excited. I know our Board of Education is excited. Our community is excited. We're a few short days away from opening it up, and I can tell you that a highlight of my first day is to get to 4 or 5 schools, and I really enjoy watching kindergartners, particularly the firstborns and families who have moms and sometimes dads that are just having difficulty reconciling the fact that it's life in the real world now. But the beauty of what we do is that within moments the student knows that they're in a safe place, they're in a nurturing place, and they're being cared for by professionals who view their role as a mission and not a job. And we appreciate being a partner with you, and we know we have a great community, and it's our job to continue to offer great educational opportunities for our children. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I would like to stay out here and do the whole show, but I can see we're about 15 minutes late, and Mrs. Braun's, she's chop. She's got a schedule. So yes, Mrs. Braun, I'll be right there. Mrs. Braun, really? Recess has to be over?
I'm sorry, Dr. Joel. It does. We have learning to do.
Well, it's hard to believe. I was on the slide. I was having a great time. Welcome to Kloefkorn Elementary School, and we're getting really close to the grand opening and the first day of kids. With me today is Sue Braun, our brand new elementary principal, not new to the district, but new to Kloefkorn, and I know is extremely excited about the first day of school. So, Sue, let's start with this. What were you doing before you took on the challenge of opening up a new elementary?
I was the principal at Rousseau Elementary School.
How many years were you there?
8.5.
What drew you to this challenge?
I think the opportunity to hire people that have a similar vision for what I'd like to see in a new elementary school was just so enticing that I thought leaving a wonderful environment at Rousseau was worth it.
Well, your reputation precedes yourself, so we were delighted to have you in the applicant pool. But opening up a new school, I mean, while it may seem all warm and fuzzy as the building's being constructed, it's about acquiring staff. It's about connecting with parents. Talk a little bit about some of those tasks that you were involved with.
Well, it's very hard work. It's a lot of work, but it's probably the most engaging, most stimulating, most exciting work that I've done in my career. And it started with that important process of selecting and hiring staff. And I spent probably the first 6 months on the job from January until about June hiring the staff. But then along with that was also making sure that classrooms were outfitted with the right equipment and supplies and all of the details that go along with a new building, deciding where students will line up and how will they enter the building and leave the building and how will we move about the building while we're in the school day. So every single little detail about a school day had to be decided. And at first it was just me, and then I brought great people on the team, and together we're making some of those decisions now. And in the process we're in right now is defining our mission and our vision so that we can communicate that to the community, and so people who know who we are at Kloefkorn School and what we're about.
So talk about staff for a minute. You've obviously great opportunity to bring in people who share your vision and how you define excellent instruction. What are the top 2 or 3 qualities that you look for when you were talking to staff?
Well, for me, I look for people who can build engaging relationships with students, relationships that will help that child do the very best they possibly can. I also look for people that are creative and innovative, and people who can integrate the latest technologies and methodologies into their practice to help kids be as successful as they possibly can be.
Awesome. I remember the groundbreaking not very long ago when we were here with the Kloefkorn family. I want to talk about them for a minute or two, but there was a young mom who just couldn't stop telling me, gushing with excitement, how her family was looking forward to coming to Kloefkorn. So talk about the parents a little bit. Brand new school. Many of them are transferring in from surrounding schools. What have you noted there?
I think we've been very deliberate about planning opportunities for the community to be involved in the excitement of opening a brand new school. So one of the first things we did was schedule parent meetings throughout the spring and summer so that they knew who I was as the instructional leader of the school, but also what the vision for the school was and all of the details that go along with how will we be organized and some of the things that parents are most interested in. So we had parent meetings. We also planned community events. So in June, we had a popsicle party, the first opportunity for families and kids to get into the building. And then each grade level has planned meet and greets throughout the summer. We also did Saturday morning walkabouts in the neighborhood out here in Vintage Heights and Boulder Ridge and Heritage Lakes, so that we just got out into the neighborhood, introduced ourselves to people who may not have children in school, but have seen this school go up in the neighborhood. And so that's been a lot of fun. And tonight we'll culminate with an open house, and the first day of school starts Tuesday. So
what has you a little bit nervous about next week when the kiddos come in and, they're all excited, and we'll have the kindergarten moms, pretty upset that their firstborn is taking off to the big world. What's got you just a little nervous about the first couple of days?
Well, I think you've spent so much time creating this vision for what you want it to look like. And you hope you've paid attention to all the details that make it go as smoothly as it does in your head. I'm not anxious about anything. I'm more excited. We have an outstanding staff of professionals here who I think are well prepared for that first day of school. And we know how to do school once kids hit the door. So I'm not at all anxious about anything, just very excited.
And it should be an exciting day. And I know it's on my rotation of schools to come visit right away. Enrollment. How many students are you expecting on the first day?
Well, as a matter of fact, today we enrolled our 330th. The projection from the district was 319, so we've exceeded that. I wasn't sure it would happen, but I think there's a lot of excitement in this neighborhood for the opening of the schools, so some people have made different choices than they thought they might make. So every day we continue to add students.
And that's really exciting as people, newness attracts. And, nothing speaks greater about a community than their gift to our kids. And a new school certainly demonstrates that commitment. And no greater commitment than, the family of Mr. Kloefkorn. So talk about your relationship with them for a minute.
I have had the unique experience of getting to be with the Kloefkorn family on a couple of different occasions. I met with Eloise Kloefkorn, Mrs. Kloefkorn, in January, and she helped me get to know what Bill Kloefkorn was like as a teacher, a poet, a husband, a father, and a grandfather. They shared lots of interesting hobbies that Bill Kloefkorn enjoyed with us. And then about 2 weeks ago, she invited me over and actually gave us quite a few very interesting things that I think kids will enjoy getting to see. He was a very creative man in many different ways, and he liked to make walking sticks. So she gave us about a dozen of his uniquely carved walking sticks. He also made sculptures out of rock. He was a kite builder. So he was a very interesting man, and through his family, we've gotten to know him a lot better. Mrs. Kloefkorn and two of his children came and met with the staff on our very first staff meeting and helped us know what he was like as a person so that this staff could honor that legacy and teach children about the namesake of our school. I gave them a tour, the whole family, about 15 of them, about 3 weeks ago, and just the excitement for them of seeing their name above the school was very emotional and very overwhelming for them as well as for me. But they were so happy once they got in here and saw the beautiful building that we have and are honored that we are spending as much time thinking about how to honor the legacy that he leaves. So it's exciting.
Well, Sue, thank you for spending time with us and, also for accepting the challenge. There's just a lot of excitement taking place here at Kloefkorn, not only because of the new school, but a fairly new community and great principal, and we're going to have an opportunity in just a couple of minutes to talk to some of the great staff that Sue's been able to attract to Kloefkorn. So thank you to the community again for allowing this gift to occur and for providing a first-class facility for our kids. And a facility, by the way, that even though there's 330 students today, that number is going to be the lowest number we ever have because construction is taking place, and certainly a reputation of the school is going to get out, and parents are going to be looking at this as an option for themselves too. So thanks for all you're doing. Have a great rest of this week. A little respite for the excitement of the first day of school.
We'll see you the first day of school. Be on time, Dr. Joel.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be on the swings this time. Thank you. Just a short while ago, we heard Mrs. Braun describing the excellent quality and contagious enthusiasm of the staff that she and the folks that work with her have been able to attract to Kloefkorn Elementary. You can tell by their smiles and just the manner in which they're so excited to be here that when the kids get here, they're in for a real show. So I'm going to have each of them introduce themselves. And if you would, talk about briefly where you were before here, what you're going to be teaching, of course, and then we'll come back with a couple of other questions. So, Skyler?
All right. Well, my name's Skyler Reising, and I was at Elliott Elementary, and I'm teaching music.
My name is Melissa LaPointe, and I was at Rousseau Elementary, and I am teaching second grade.
My name is Stephanie Schulz. I was at Rousseau Elementary teaching second grade as well.
Okay, so it's a new school. Obviously, there's some excitement here. What attracted you to let Mrs. Braun know you were interested in coming to Kloefkorn?
I think it was just the idea that we would get to kind of get to take a part in creating a vision for a school. That was very exciting. And also just to get to work with a lot of different teachers from different places. That idea that you get to come together and we're not doing things just because that's the way we've always done it was really attractive.
I was really excited about building a positive community with the staff and the families.
And I was excited about, again, the opportunity to build a school culture from the ground up. Yeah.
I appreciate that very much. But most people don't like change. Change is something that kind of gets in the way of a good routine. So I'm gathering you guys like change. You kind of like the idea. You described it, Melissa, about when you said it's kind of like a college. You come in and you've got all these new people, and you're going to come together around a vision. What do you know about the vision so far? What's kind of stepping out here? And I think Stephanie, you talked a little bit about community.
I think building a positive community, a strong community at Kloefkorn is part of our goal, and that we have a strong vision for excellence at Kloefkorn.
Also, I think one of the big focuses here is that push for technology, both within instruction and how we teach, and also how students interact with curriculum.
And also, we want to let parents know that from day one, we'll be hitting the ground running, and we're a school that's ready to go, ready to get kids learning.
So talk about some of the parent contacts you've had. Obviously, next week we're going to have kindergartners walking in, and parents are going to be really, it's going to be hard for them if it's their firstborn coming to school. And, then you're going to have parents that I run into all the time, can't wait for school to start, should have started a month ago. What kind of contact have you had with some of the parents here in Kloefkorn?
We've had a lot of opportunities to meet the families. We had the popsicle party where families got to come in and come to the front of Kloefkorn. And then we did the meet and greet at the park, so we got to interact with the kids and the parents. And it was just nice to be able to talk to them about what the year would look like to ease their anxiety a little bit.
And tonight we have our open house, and families and students will be able to come and see their classrooms and meet their teachers again and see the rest of their classmates.
Yeah, and I got to meet a lot of the parents at the popsicle night, and I'll see parents tonight at the open house, and all the interactions that I've had with parents are very positive, so I'm really excited about that.
So next week, lots of energy. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think hopefully it's on my list of schools I'm going to come visit next week. When does the work start here? When do you start teaching?
At the end of last year.
We've definitely started a long time ago. I feel like we've already been on the roll and been doing a lot of work to get ready for this coming year.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, thankfully we were able to get in the building in late June, so that's been advantageous, and a lot of us have been in our rooms all summer. So.
See, these are great answers because, I was hoping somebody'd say, well, by the middle of next week, maybe we'll get around to it. But no, these are professionals, and they are geared up and absolutely ready to go. So when we think about instructional methodologies in class today, one of the things that I've been working on this summer nationally is how do we augment good teaching with technology? So if I can, this is definitely impromptu. Tell us, what kind of technology do you integrate into your lessons and in your work with kids?
I use a lot of music. Usually you have to take a CD and put it in the CD player and then go to the track number, then hit play. Well, what I do now is I load all my music onto my iTunes on my MacBook, and then I just go over to my computer and choose the track I want and hit play. That's one example of how technology has helped my area, but I'll also be using GarageBand on the MacBooks in our Connected Learning Lab and teaching the kids how to compose some music. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think there are so many different ways to infuse technology. One, just as a way to introduce what you're teaching, maybe you're delivering it to them, or also having them get real life experiences with it. So maybe it's a way that they're looking into a new topic and they're going out and researching it, whether it be on PebbleGo or different sites that we know are good for kids to go and look up information.
Great, thank you.
It's definitely a way for students to create or demonstrate their knowledge and what they've learned. We use a lot of technology to enhance that learning experience for students.
We're going to talk a little bit more about technology as we go forward. But what are you going to tell kids the first day? What's the first words that are going to? Because you're thinking about that. I know it's a new kids, new everything. What's the message they're going to hear from you day one?
We're excited to have them. We're excited to start learning from day one, and I think that relationship piece is very important. Letting them know that we want to make sure that every single one of them feels welcome.
We want students to know that we are lifelong learners as teachers, and that we can instill that upon them too, so they have that motivation to learn throughout their whole life.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll say welcome to all my students, and we realize that we have students coming from 9 different schools, so a lot of these kids won't know each other, so we'll be doing a lot of relationship building in the first few weeks.
How long is it going to take to get a school song?
We got to have our mascot first.
Oh yeah, mascot first and school song. Well, there you have it. Three of a large number of teachers that made the decision to come to Kloefkorn and buy into the vision of Mrs. Braun, but really are about relationships, building a sense of community, and having fun. Which kids really can engage in that fun side of education. But I want to close with this question because I was having such a great time on the playground till Mrs. Braun came out and blew the whistle and ordered me inside. Is recess still a part of what we do?
Yes, I think it's a very important part. I think we just had a staff development last week where we got to see what that idea of getting up and moving around and getting your blood pumping really does for learning. And so I think it's a very important part of their day.
Wellness is extremely important for students. Healthy body, healthy mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love recess.
So do I. Unfortunately, it didn't last very long. So thank you very much to you. Have a great year. Have a wonderful first couple of days of school, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Every day I have the opportunity to work with tremendous professional people that really are the nuts and bolts of the delivery of education to 36, soon to be 37,000 students. With us now is Mark Shepard, who is the Associate Superintendent for Business Affairs for Lincoln Public Schools. Been here a few more years than I have, but who is responsible for the Kloefkorn building in a direct and an indirect way, but also manages our budget and implements the budget and helps us develop projections of what the future might hold. So welcome, Mark, to the show. Why don't you, and that didn't do justice to your entitled job description, but talk a little bit more about what you do.
Well, basically, I do a lot with everything that indirectly affects the classroom. I have great people that I work with every day. We have a director of buildings and grounds, facilities and maintenance. We have a director of transportation. We also have a director of food service and nutrition services, director of technology, and then budgeting, accounting, and fiscal services. So as I like to say, it's basically everything that indirectly affects the classroom and learning.
Well, it really does, and we're standing in a benefit of that. Talk, if you will, about our building facilities and our building projects, and the new and the remodeled, and I want to, before Mark answers that question, I want people to know that from the day that I arrived in Lincoln, I've been so impressed with the quality of facilities that our students have access to. So, big bond issue 2006. Obviously, this was a part of that. So let's talk about what that all means.
Well, really, when you look at the type of growth that the district has incurred, both before the bond issue and after the bond issue, we continue to be a growing school district. I think our local economy, our state economy, and our national economy really took a hit beginning in 2008 through 2009, 2010. But through all of that, Lincoln Public Schools and the city of Lincoln continued to grow. We grew 2 years in a row in excess of 900 students. If you go back to the 2006 bond issue, since that time, if you include what we're projecting for this fall, we will have grown over 4,000 students. During that time, we've opened 2 new elementaries, Adams Elementary and Cooser Elementary. We did a complete rebuild of Arnold Elementary during that time, and we opened a new middle school, Sco Middle School. Kloefkorn will be the 3rd new elementary to be opened since 2006, and it really addresses the student growth. The other thing that the bond issue of 2006 did that has been a very positive thing is we've moved a little over 120 portable classrooms into the buildings, and we're down to just right around 20 for this fall when we open next week.
that truly is a tremendous gift from the community, and how we've been able to leverage, the $250 million approximately into all of those projects. But, growth is something, as you were talking about, that we have to constantly keep in our minds. What does the future look like in terms of infrastructure, in your opinion? And I realize you've got teams of folks right now that are trying to get more accurate numbers, but Lincoln is in a growth mode, and we see it right out here in this area with new homes going up and new other dwellings throughout the city, and land that's coming into Lincoln, as we speak. So always going to be concerned about growth and how the infrastructure keeps up with it. What are you thinking? What are you seeing?
I think a couple of things. Number one, we do continue to grow, and we have to manage that growth. We have to plan for the growth, and that's not easy. But we partner with the community. We have great community support, and we gather a lot of input. And you're going to see a process that's going to begin this fall that's going to allow us to again engage the stakeholders and identify what the critical needs are, but also project forward as we continue to grow, so that we can meet not only the demands of the current educational system, but the future demands. And some of that's going to involve technology.
Absolutely. Talk about Kloefkorn specifically in terms of capacity, cost, and who are the key partners that made this beautiful building possible?
Well, Kloefkorn's a unique design. When we built Adams and Kuser, we used the same design. With Kloefkorn, we started from ground zero, taking everything good from the projects that have been completed recently and adding to that, looking at and interviewing the principals in the buildings that have now been in operation for a year or two. Clark Anderson Partners here in Lincoln was the design team responsible, working with our staff, working with Scott Wieskamp and his professional team in our own facility maintenance department to design the building. Hausman Construction, another Lincoln firm, was responsible for the construction. It's about an $11.5 million project, and it's currently designed for a capacity a little over 500. But it also, in the design stage, built in the ability to grow. And the core spaces, one of which we're standing in right now, are designed to handle more students than 500, so that as the building grows, as the community grows, we can put an addition on this building and have the core facilities in place to deal with that growth.
And that's we need to mention Scott Wieskamp and his folks too. Scott just does a tremendous job of getting these buildings built and managing the projects in a very timely and efficient way. Mark was my colleague who called me about 11 o'clock at night on that fateful night, Memorial Day, as our building was burning down. And I remember well the conversations we had into the wee hours of the morning. Let's talk about LPSDO, because I know the community is extremely proud of our response to it, and they need to know that you and the folks that you worked with went to work at 3 or 4 that morning and said, okay, the rebuilding begins now. Where are we in that? What's the timeline? How are things looking?
Well, I think if you've driven down O Street recently, you can see that the building's coming out of the ground literally as we speak. It's a unique design. It'll be a 3-story building that will have about a half or to 2/3 basement underneath it. It's a better utilization of the property. One of the things that became abundantly clear after the fire and kind of on the rebounding side of it is that we were sitting on a very valuable piece of property for commercial use in the community. We recognize that, the community recognized that. We went through a pretty extensive process of identifying where to rebuild. In the end, I think we end up with the best of both worlds. We keep a very central location, a location that served the community well for a number of years for our district office facility, and we've added some commercial space to that site. Whole Foods and the announcement of Whole Foods coming to Lincoln was huge, and we've received nothing but positive feedback about that. The Continuum organization out of Colorado is working with us, developing an organization, and we'll also have some supporting facilities between the Whole Foods building and our building, some other commercial type development.
I think you can see just from the few minutes we've spent with Mark that we're truly fortunate in Lincoln to have the skilled professional leadership that we do have, and it makes the job of the superintendent a whole lot easier. And I know it makes the job of the board quite a bit easier too, because quite frankly, Mark and the rest of our colleagues, not only at LPSDO but in our buildings, as we witnessed today, are approach this as a mission, not a job. And it's really about the very, very best education we can offer to between 36 and 37,000 students. We're really proud of how we've been able to manage our resources and how we've been able to manage our infrastructure. We're extremely proud of our student results. And just as we were ready for the school year to end, which you typically get to that point when you're in education, we are just really excited about what this year is going to represent for us. And no better representation than opening up a building and creating a sense of community at Kloefkorn. So with that, and I hope you've enjoyed the presentations today and had a chance to meet some of our great people that we have in our employ, but also to whet your appetite for what is going to be just a lot of opportunity to witness great education in action. And that begins next week when the doors open and the excitement starts and the teachers just go to work. And what happens, quite frankly, in a lot of our classrooms is magic. So thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate your time. And to everybody else, until next time.
This has been a presentation of Lincoln Public Schools. A monthly programming guide may be found at www.lps.org.